Hi everyone! For this video, I thought we'd have a bit of fun and look at the current stock of F1 drivers and the highs and lows of their F1 careers. Now, these are the best drivers in the world, and Nicholas Latifi, and they've all shown why they've earned their seat, but they've also had days where things just didn't come together for them. I'm basing these verdicts off how the drivers themselves did rather than say, if they were leading the race but the car broke down, or if they got screwed over by a dodgy strategy call, which kinda narrows the pool quite considerably if your name is Charles Leclerc. So, without further ado, let's see the F1 class of 2022 go from hero to zero. And going in team order, we start with Red Bull and the defending champion Max Verstappen. For his best race, I've picked the 2016 Brazilian Grand Prix. It was a very stop-start race littered with red flags and safety cars due to the weather. Verstappen had originally qualified 4th and pitted for full wet tyres during the final safety car and dropped to 16th. However, during the final 15-lap shootout, he pulled off a wet weather masterclass and stormed his way to 3rd, almost passing one car per lap. For comparison, teammate Daniel Ricciardo pitted as well and rejoined in 12th but finished 5th and then got demoted to 8th. Honourable mentions for Verstappen's best race include the 2018 Russian Grand Prix, where he and Ricciardo started 19th and 18th respectively due to grid penalties, but by lap 8, Verstappen had got himself up to 5th, immediately passing Ricciardo, who got stuck in 12th and eventually ended up in 6th after the first round of pit stops. The 2021 Russian Grand Prix, where he started dead last and after all the chaos and the rain at the end managed to finish 2nd, and the 2021 United States Grand Prix, where he lost the lead to Lewis Hamilton at the start, but gained it back through clever strategy and held Hamilton off for the final 10 laps or so with barely an error in sight. As for his worst race, I've gone for the 2018 Bahrain Grand Prix. Almost any one of the first 5 or so races of 2018 would have sufficed, but here nothing really came together. He crashed in Q2 in qualifying and so started 15th. He got up to 11th on lap 1 and immediately started going after Lewis Hamilton, who'd had another one of his craptacular race starts, but surprise surprise, they touched, Verstappen got terminal suspension damage and Hamilton got away scot-free. Honourable mentions include the 2018 Chinese Grand Prix, where he hit Vettel battling for 3rd and finished 5th while Ricciardo won it, and the 2019 Mexican Grand Prix, where he had a comfortable pole position taken away for failing to slow for yellow flags when Bottas crashed, hit Lewis again at the start, and then got a puncture from Bottas and finished 6th. Sergio Perez. Checo's best race is a bit of a no-brainer. It's the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix. He qualified a very strong 5th, and after getting Leclerc at turn 4 dropped to last, but after not pitting during the inevitable Latifi-induced safety car, and Mercedes throwing everything but the kitchen sink at George Russell to stop him winning, went on to take his first win. Not a bad day at the office. Honourable mentions include the 2012 Malaysian Grand Prix, where he could have taken his first win 8.5 years prior, but amazingly was beaten by the team supplying his team with their engines. The 2012 Italian Grand Prix, where he went full tyre whisperer and started 12th and finished 2nd, and the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where after his appointment as Mexican Minister of Defence on old tyres held up Lewis Hamilton on new tyres for 2 laps and cost him 10 seconds, who when in a similar position on the final lap couldn't exactly replicate this, even with the championship on the line, but we'll say nothing more about that. For Perez's worst race, I've picked the 2018 Singapore Grand Prix. He qualified 7th, but at the start, after failing to do so in a few previous races, finally succeeded in putting teammate Esteban Ocon in the wall. He pitted early and plummeted from 7th to 16th. After being stuck behind Sergei Sorokin for 16 laps, he finally passed him but turned in on him as he did so, gave himself a puncture, pitted and dropped to last, then pitted again to serve a drive-through penalty and ended up 16th. Oh dear. Honourable mentions include the 2021 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, where he qualified 2nd but gave himself a stop-go penalty for cutting corners at the start. I mean, that's very unfair, but okay. Then spun after the red flag restart and finished 11th, and the 2021 British Grand Prix, where he spun in the sprint race and undid his qualifying efforts, started from the pit lane, made little to no progress during the race, and got sacrificed for fastest lap and finished 16th. Lewis Hamilton. With over 100 wins and almost 300 races in total, we've definitely got some options here. For his best race, I've gone for the 2008 British Grand Prix. He'd qualified slightly poorly in 4th, but when rain came on race day, he jumped up to 2nd at turn 1 and then took the lead from teammate Heikki Kovalainen on lap 5. From here on, he never looked back, won the race by over a minute, and lapped everyone up to 4th, taking the first of 8 British Grand Prix victories, whereas main rival Felipe Massa spun 5 times and finished 13th. Honourable mentions include the 2007 Canadian Grand Prix, where he took his first pole position and controlled a race with several safety cars to take his first win, the 2007 Japanese Grand Prix, where he took his first wet weather victory and put one hand on the title, the 2014 Bahrain Grand Prix, where he won the Duel in the Desert, the 2018 German Grand Prix, where a breakdown in qualifying left him 14th, but he climbed through in the race and inherited the lead and the win from Sebastian Vettel after he spun off when the rain came down, the 2018 Japanese Grand Prix, where he was on awesome form all weekend and barely put a foot wrong, the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix, where he claimed his 7th title on 50-lap-old slick intermediates, and the 2021 Sao Paulo Grand Prix, because engine tax. We now go from the 2008 British Grand Prix being his best race to the 2009 British Grand Prix being his worst. He qualified 19th out of 20 drivers, 4 places behind Kovalainen, and after running off track several times finished 16th. That double diffuser couldn't come soon enough. Honourable mentions include the 2009 Monaco Grand Prix, where he crashed in Q1, started 19th and finished 12th, the 2009 Italian Grand Prix, where he got pole, dropped to 3rd in the race and then crashed out on the final lap, the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix, where he collided with Mark Webber at the start and then teammate Jenson Button not long after, the 2011 Belgian Grand Prix, where he forgot about these things called mirrors, the 2013 Spanish Grand Prix, where he dropped from 2nd to 12th, the 2019 German Grand Prix, where he span his way from 1st to 9th, and the 2021 Brake Magic Grand Prix, possibly the biggest self-own in Formula 1 history. George Russell. Mr. Saturday is going from strength to strength as he evolves into Mr. Sunday and makes a habit of beating Hamilton, which we got a precursor to at the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix. It was a car he'd never driven before, wearing ill-fitting overalls and shoes. He came within 3/100ths of beating new teammate and experienced Mercedes driver Valtteri Bottas to pole, and would have comfortably won the race had everything not happened, essentially replicating the kind of race performances Hamilton is known for, who despite having already wrapped up both titles was just desperate to come back for Abu Dhabi and be beaten by Bottas and Verstappen. Honourable mentions include the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, where he scored points in a way that actually meant something, and the 2022 Spanish Grand Prix, where for a brief period he looked like a contender for the win. In his short career, George hasn't had any particularly bad he crashed behind the safety car. Roman Grosjean realness. Honourable mentions include the 2021 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, take what you will from the crash itself and the aftermath, and the 2022 British Grand Prix. A star for sportsmanship, but sorry mate, that was your fault. Charles Leclerc. There's definitely some interesting material to work with here. For his best race, I've chosen the 2019 Italian Grand Prix. He'd taken his first win the week prior, but the death of Antoine Hubert meant it couldn't really be savoured or celebrated. This time, however, he was in a Ferrari in front of the Tifosi, put it on pole, spent the second half of the race with Hamilton on his tail and eventually forced him into a mistake and dropped to 3rd, and then defended against Bottas for the rest of the race while teammate Vettel spun his way to 13th. We'll just ignore the whole illegal engine thing. Honourable mentions include the 2019 Bahrain Grand Prix, where he got the first ever podium for a car with a V5 engine, the 2020 Austrian Grand Prix, where he did nothing from 6th for 90% of the race and then nabbed 2nd, and the 2022 British Grand Prix, where despite initially wrecking his and Perez's races early on and carrying wing damage for the rest of the race, spent it battling the pit wall in his desperate attempts to get past Sainz, and after losing his battle with the pit wall, gave us some of the most dogged and entertaining racing we've seen in years on old hards surrounded by cars on new softs. Now, the worst. It's the 2020 Styrian Grand Prix. Not the only time he's binned it on the first lap, but it is the first time he's done so to his teammate. Honourable mentions include the 2019 Monaco Grand Prix, rage quitting your floor to pieces, the 2019 German Grand Prix, from 10th to 2nd to the barriers, and the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix, Styria Son's teammate. Carlos Sainz. Where was he a smooth operator and a coarse passenger? So, I've chosen the 2019 Brazilian Grand Prix, but I just can't remember why. Honourable mentions include the 2015 United States Grand Prix, started 20th, finished 7th, the 2016 Canadian Grand Prix, started 20th, finished 9th, the 2019 Austrian Grand Prix, started 19th, finished 8th, and the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix, started 15th, finished 5th. Not that anyone remembers any of them. It would seem obvious to put the 2022 British Grand Prix in here since, he won it, but he fluffed the start, was slower than a damaged Leclerc the whole race, gave the lead up to Verstappen, and then won when AlphaTauri threw Verstappen under the bus, or rather threw bits of Gasly's car under Verstappen's, and then had Leclerc play the role of moving roadblock. Course passenger time, and it's the 2022 Australian Grand Prix. Got screwed in qualifying, had an awful start, then binned it on his own while his teammate cruised to victory. Honourable mentions include the 2020 Russian Grand Prix, Error 43, Escape Road Not Found, and the 2017 Japanese Grand Prix, crashed in practice, started 19th, and could have invisibly driven to the points again, but crashed again on the first lap. Daniel Ricciardo. The Honey Badger has had an interesting career trajectory. 7 of his 8 wins have not come from pole, and none with the outright fastest car. Despite this impressive track record, he's spent the past 4 years rage-quitting his way to the back of the grid. For his best race, I've gone for the 2017 Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Started 10th, dropped to 17th early on when pitting to remove debris from his brakes, gained places back during a deluge of safety cars and red flags, did a very nice double overtake on Felipe Massa and Lance Stroll for 3rd, and then inherited the lead and the win from Sebastian Vettel's stop-go penalty and Hamilton's loose headrest. Nicely done. Honourable mentions include the 2014 Hungarian Grand Prix, held the lead for a large part of the race and made daring moves on Hamilton and Alonso for the win. The 2018 Chinese Grand Prix went from 6th to 1st while teammate Verstappen went from 5th to Vettel's side pod, and the 2018 Monaco Grand Prix redeemed himself for 2016 and defended against Vettel for the entire race with no MG UK. For his worst race, I've picked the 2022 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. He qualified 6th, just behind teammate Norris, but then hit Sainz at the start and took him out and gave himself damage and finished in 18th and last. Honourable mentions include the 2013 Singapore Grand Prix, made a rare Q3 appearance for Toro Rosso, dropped 5 places at the start and then crashed out, the 2021 Monaco Grand Prix, got lapped by his teammate, and the 2022 British Grand Prix. In a race with everything, he did literally nothing. Lando Norris. For his best race, it's the 2021 Russian Grand Prix, if you ignore the final 5 laps. Honourable mentions include the 2020 Austrian Grand Prix, last lap Lando, the 2021 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, started 7th, finished 3rd, and the 2019 Belgian Grand Prix, went from 11th to 5th in a broken car. As for the worst, it's the 2021 Russian Grand Prix, if you ignore everything except the final 5 laps. Honourable mentions include the 2020 Hungarian Grand Prix, started 8th, finished 13th, and the 2022 Bahrain Grand Prix, started 13th, finished 15th. Fernando Alonso. Nando is basically from a bygone era but is still somehow here trying to bring El Plan to fruition. For his best race, we're going all the way back to 2005 and the San Marino Grand Prix. He inherited the lead from Kimi Raikkonen's drive shaft, but in the final 12 laps had to play defence against defending champion Michael Schumacher, in a demonstration of racecraft which DRS and the trajectory of aerodynamics have made all but impossible since. Honourable mentions include the 2003 Hungarian Grand Prix, his first win, done in a very convincing fashion, the 2013 Spanish Grand Prix, his last win, starting 5th, doing a double overtake at the start and winning with a 4-stop strategy, the 2018 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, got a double puncture and broken front wing at the start, crawled round to the pits and still finished 7th, and the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, proof his defensive skills have not faded. Where L Plan becomes Plan L was the 2007 Japanese Grand Prix, way to throw the championship. Honourable mentions include the 2007 Canadian Grand Prix, way to throw the championship, and the 2007 Hungarian Grand Prix, way to throw the championship. Esteban Ocon. Best race, no-brainer, it's the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix. I don't think anyone expected that victory, except perhaps Mercedes, as both drivers kind of cleared the road for him. Honourable mentions include basically the whole of 2017. Very nice work. Esteban Ocon was replaced with Esteban Ocon at the 2018 Brazilian Grand Prix, where he apparently felt the need to avenge Juan Pablo Montoya for being punted out of the lead by Max's father Jos there in 2002. Honourable mentions include the 2017 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where he collided with teammate Perez and took him out of the race, as well as Raikkonen behind and triggered the 3rd safety car of the day, and the 2018 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where he tried and failed to wreck Raikkonen's car again. Pierre Gasly. Like with Ocon, no-brainer, his best race is the 2020 Italian Grand Prix. A perfect demonstration of why you should avoid Red Bull at all costs with Max still in the picture. Honourable mentions include the 2018 Bahrain Grand Prix, pulled a 4th place out of his arse, which was firmly planted in the second slowest car that year, the 2019 Brazilian Grand Prix, redemption for his demotion from Red Bull, the 2021 Dutch Grand Prix, qualified and finished as best of the rest, ahead of both Ferraris, and the 2021 Mexico City Grand Prix, same deal. Speaking of Red Bull, his worst race is the 2019 Australian Grand Prix. First race for Red Bull, his big break, qualifies 16th while Max is in 3rd and finishes outside the points in 11th and lapped, with Max in 3rd again. Honourable mentions include the 2019 French Grand Prix, home race, qualifies 8 tenths and 5 places behind Max and finishes 11th and only gets a point because of a penalty for Daniel Ricciardo. The 2020 Tuscan Grand Prix goes from winning his first race to qualifying 17th and then having a foursome with Raikkonen, Grosjean and Verstappen on the way to the gravel trap, and the 2022 Austrian Grand Prix crashes into Hamilton during the sprint race, then gets 2 penalties for track limits and punting Vettel off the track. Yuki Tsunoda. He's still growing into his role, and his overalls, but has still put on some quite varied performances in a relatively short space of time. His best race is the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. This result often gets overlooked, for obvious reasons, but 4th place was a very solid result to end his debut season, and capped it off in a manner reminiscent of his fellow countryman Takuma Sato, who gained a reputation as a crasher in his debut season and finished on a high with 6th and his first points at the season finale at Suzuka. Honourable mentions include the 2021 Bahrain Grand Prix, points on your debut is always something to be proud of, the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, charged from 16th to 6th, and the 2022 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, gained 4 places in the sprint race and another 5 in the actual race. The worst race is the 2022 British Grand Prix. Fucked up his race, his teammates' race, and Verstappen's race. Honourable mentions include the 2021 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, crashed in qualifying, totally fucking up the team's race plan, then finished 12th of 14 finishers and got penalised for shitting on track limits, the 2021 Russian Grand Prix, spun his way to dead fucking last, the 2022 Monaco Grand Prix, spun his way to dead fucking last again, and the 2022 Canadian Grand Prix, qualified dead fucking last and then crashed and fucked the car up at the pit lane exit of a track that barely has a fucking pit lane exit. Fuck. Zhou Guanyu, 2022's resident rookie. With only 11 races under his belt, there's not really much to talk about here, but his best race is the 2022 Canadian Grand Prix. He got his best qualifying result of 10th, and then his best race result of 8th. Very nicely done. Honourable mentions include the 2022 Bahrain Grand Prix, always good to score points on your debut, and the 2022 British Grand Prix. Got a new best grid start, but we all know what happened next. His worst race is the 2022 Monaco Grand Prix. He qualified last and was then very raggedy in his battles and finished stuck behind Nicholas Latifi in 16th. His sole honourable mention is the 2022 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Got a puncture during the sprint, started from the pit lane and finished a lowly 15th. Hamilton's Valtteri Bottas. His best race is the 2014 British Grand Prix. Started 14th and finished 2nd. Where the f*** was this Bottas during his entire Mercedes stint? Honourable mentions include the 2016 Canadian Grand Prix, went from 7th to 3rd, the 2017 Russian Grand Prix, took his first win and not from pole, the 2019 Australian Grand Prix, Hamilton had no answer, and the 2021 Turkish Grand Prix, finally decided to drive well in the wet. When it comes to his worst race, I had to think long and hard. Oh, f*** it. We all know what's coming. Hey cousin, let's go bowling.
Strike!
Honourable mentions include the 2019 German Grand Prix. Only Bottas could allow Hamilton to extend his championship lead with a race like that. The 2020 Italian Grand Prix, given a complete open goal to close the gap to Hamilton and finished only 10 seconds in front in a race he should have easily won. The 2020 Turkish Grand Prix, Hamilton gets a win and a 7th title on a tyre compound he created during the race, and Bottas gets spin after spin and 14th. The 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix, you had one job, beat George. The 2021 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, you had one job, beat George. And the 2021 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, you're driving the 2021 Mercedes, not the 2013 Williams. Now, I know you all love hearing me talk about Valtteri Bottas.
But here comes Sebastian Vettel!
Like with Hamilton, we have a lot of options here. His best race is the 2012 Brazilian Grand Prix. It was the final race of the year, and he was fighting for the title with Alonso. He had a slightly poor start from 4th and was then pushed against the wall by professional number 2 driver Mark Webber, which compromised him and dropped into 7th, where he was then hit and spun by Bruno Senna at Descida de Largo. He came within a bee's dick of getting terminal damage, but carried on with most of the left-hand side pod and floor missing, gradually working his way through the field in the rain. When the rain stopped, he started going backwards again, but then the rain returned, but Vettel lost the radio and pitted unexpectedly, which caused a long delay, and he came through to finish 6th and take his 3rd title. Honourable mentions include the 2008 Italian Grand Prix, very convincing and completely unexpected first victory, the 2013 Singapore Grand Prix, set one lap in Q3 and still got pole, then completely checked out in the race and won by over 30 seconds and got a Grand Chelem, the 2015 Malaysian Grand Prix, the first time Mercedes in the hybrid era had been beaten outright on pace, the 2018 Bahrain Grand Prix, hell of a defence on those tyres, the 2019 German Grand Prix, the fact that he went from 20th to 2nd and was the only driver in the entire race to not either spin or go off track is not talked about nearly enough, and the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix. Again, the fact that he went from 11th to 3rd and was the only driver in the entire race to not either spin or go off track is not talked about nearly enough. The worst, by contrast, is the 2022 Australian Grand Prix. This was a train wreck of a weekend. He'd just got over COVID, got more mileage on that scooter than the Aston Martin in FP1, didn't run in FP2, crashed in FP3, qualified 17th, and then crashed again in the race. Honourable mentions include the 2007 Japanese Grand Prix, took away Red Bull's and Toro Rosso's best ever result by crashing into Mark Webber behind the safety car, the 2009 Australian Grand Prix, crashed out of 2nd on the penultimate lap, the 2010 Turkish Grand Prix, easiest 1-2 ever for McLaren, the 2015 Mexican Grand Prix, crashing out on your own is never a good look, the 2017 Singapore Grand Prix, this move didn't cost you the championship but it certainly didn't help, the 2018 German Grand Prix, same deal, the 2018 Japanese Grand Prix, this one basically did, the 2019 Italian Grand Prix, spinny spinny, and the 2019 Brazilian Grand Prix, more teammate collisions. Lance Stroll. I really don't know what to make of Lance sometimes. He seems to be able to embody every F1 driver in history and be capable of the very best and the very worst performances in the sport. His best race is the 2017 Azerbaijan Grand Prix. He'd already beaten teammate Felipe Massa's 7th on the grid, and then out of nowhere got 3rd and was oh so close to finishing 2nd. Honourable mentions include the 2020 Italian Grand Prix, got a great 3rd place with a clever strategy call and was briefly up to 4th in the standings, the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix, an insane pole position in the wet, led the first half and then dropped like a stone to 9th after switching to intermediates, but bless his little cotton socks, he tried, and the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix, another opportunistic drive to 3rd place. And the worst? Well, it's the 2020 Portuguese Grand Prix. Collides with Max Verstappen in practice, and then collides with Lando Norris at the same place during the race. Honourable mentions include the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, hey cousin, let's also go bowling, the 2022 Australian Grand Prix, crashes into Latifi in qualifying and then gets penalised for weaving in the race, and the 2022 Monaco Grand Prix. How many escape roads do you want to explore? Yes. Nicholas Latifi. His best race, not that it's saying much, is the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix. Who would have thought the first points for Jos Capito's Williams would come from Nicky? Honourable mentions include... no. His worst race is the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Depending on whose side you're on, you can either thank him or bemoan him, but he should never have crashed fighting a frigging Haas. Honourable mentions include the 2022 Bahrain Grand Prix, the 2022 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the 2022 Australian Grand Prix, the 2022 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, the 2022 Miami Grand Prix, the 2022 Spanish Grand Prix, the 2022 Monaco Grand Prix, the 2022 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, the 2022 Canadian Grand Prix, the 2022 British Grand Prix, the 2022 Austrian Grand Prix, and, even though it hasn't happened yet, the 2022 French Grand Prix. Alexander Albon. His best race is clearly the 2022 Australian Grand Prix. Watch out, Perez, there's a new tyre whisperer on the block. I'm still convinced he was running 2010 Bridgestones. Honourable mentions include the 2019 Belgian Grand Prix, first race for Red Bull, lots of dogged fighting, and came ever so close to having no name corner named after him, The 2020 Tuscan Grand Prix started 4th, finished 3rd, i.e. what you're supposed to do as a bare minimum as Red Bull's second driver. The 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix, ditto, and the 2022 Miami Grand Prix. That was a hell of a drive to go from 18th to 9th. The worst race, however, is the 2022 Italian Grand Prix. He'd already qualified badly in 10th, then collided with Gasly at the start, got damage, then got a time penalty, and finished 15th in a race full of opportunities. Honourable mentions include the 2020 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, qualified what by his standards was a fairly good 6th, then spun after the safety car restart and finished 15th. The 2020 Portuguese Grand Prix, going from 6th to 12th and getting lapped by your teammate is never a good look. And the 2022 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, an overly ambitious move on Stroll that ended his race with 3 laps to go. We're getting to the end now with the boys at Haas. Dearest Mick's best race is the 2022 Austrian Grand Prix. That boy scores points once and now he's got a taste for meat. Very mature and calculated drive in the sprint and the actual race. I wonder where he gets it from. Honourable mentions include the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, got to actually battle with someone other than his teammate for once. The 2022 Bahrain Grand Prix, came so close to points had Ocon not caused a rift in the birthday crew. And the 2022 British Grand Prix, the moment he went from being Ralph's nephew to Michael's son. His worst race is the 2022 Miami Grand Prix. If you're going to deprive yourself of your first points, don't do it at the hands of your mentor/adoptive uncle. Honourable mentions include the 2021 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, clearly learns fast from Uncle Seb with those impressive spins, the 2022 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, literally the same, and the 2022 Monaco Grand Prix. There's no match made in heaven quite like Haas cars and splitting in half. And last but not least, Kevin Magnussen. His best race is the 2014 Australian Grand Prix. Second place on your debut, I mean hello. Honourable mentions include the 2017 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, started 12th, made a very nice double overtake a la Daniel Ricciardo and finished 7th with teammate Grosjean 13th. The 2018 Spanish Grand Prix, class of the Formula 1.5 field. The 2020 Hungarian Grand Prix, very clever strategy call to claim your sole point that year. And the 2022 Bahrain Grand Prix. Look at me, Mercedes. I am your rival now. Where he sucked his own balls was the 2019 British Grand Prix. Do not fox smash your teammate. Honourable mentions include the 2018 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, nice Haas-tastic race, the 2018 Singapore Grand Prix, more than the second off Grosjean all weekend and just no pace, and the 2019 Canadian Grand Prix, from Q3 to the pit wall to the pit lane to 17th. So, there we are, just a bit of fun. If you have any nominations for a best or worst drive, let me know, as I'm sure there will be ones I've overlooked. And if people like this format, f it, I'll do every drive of the 2010s. That's all for this video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Brook_F1. A huge shout out and thank you to my 2 new Patreon subscribers Ypsilon2643 and Valentine Frank, and I'll see you all next time.